to spread square propaganda again.
Yes, indeed. Cloud of Daggers, popular spell. It got better in 5.5 because you can move it 30 feet as an action after casting it, and it does auto damage with no save. Well, I actually shouldn't say move, I should say teleport. That's another thing people have gotten wrong. I'm gonna cut to the chase. I've been DMing for 4 different tables every week, and a lot of them have been casting this spell. In good faith, I believe they knew how the spell works, and I didn't really pry that much because of that. But it turns out every single one of them have gotten this spell wrong over and over and over and over again. So welcome to Pack Tactics, where I'm going to show you how this spell works. By the way, real quick, I'm DMing in Peru in a castle that's in the jungle. I'll be DMing there for 5 days straight every single day. If you're interested in a cool vacation trip in late September, maybe consider signing up to the trip. Link in the description. There's only 1 spot left. For more of a detailed breakdown on what this vacation trip actually is, check out this video here, which is also in the description. Just note before watching that video, there's only 1 seat left. And of course the game itself is pretty soon. Back to the video. Cloud of Daggers. 2nd level spell, action, 60-foot range, 5-foot cube. You conjure spinning daggers in a 5-foot cube, centered on a point within range. Each creature in that area takes 4d4 slashing damage. A creature also takes this damage if it enters the cube or ends its turn there, or if the cube moves into its space. A creature takes this damage only once per turn. On your later turns, you can take a magic action to teleport the cube up to 30 feet. Upcast. The damage increases by 2d4 for each spell slot level above 2.
Kobold, it's a square! Your favorite shape!
Minecraft.
So what's the problem? Why are your players getting it wrong?
Cubes and spheres are different shapes. Cubes are usually smaller than spheres. A cube is an area of effect that extends in a straight line from a point of origin located anywhere on a face of a cube. A sphere extends in straight lines from a point of origin outward in all directions. Here is a grid. So when we put these AoEs on a grid, we can see a clear difference. This here is a 5-foot sphere. I made a circle. It's affecting those 4 squares there. The green here is a 5-foot square. This area is only affecting 1 single square on a grid. My evil power gamer players have been cheating. They're mixing squares with circles, but squares are squares.
But Kobold, you've said circles are squares many times in other videos.
On a grid, yeah, because grids warp circles. But cubes are squares, not circles or bigger squares.
Can't the square be in the middle of a 5-foot square like this on a grid? Like the blue one there?
No. It needs to be in an intersection between squares. You choose an intersection of squares as the point of origin of an area of effect. Then you follow the rules for that kind of area as normal. So that means you get a square that only affects 1 square.
Oh, snap! I've gotten this wrong too. Wait, this spell sucks then.
Well, whatever. And no, it doesn't suck. Let's talk about the damage. Each creature in that area takes 4d4 slashing damage, which is an average of 10 damage. Easy. That's a bit lower than magic missile damage, but remember, this is a concentration spell that lasts 1 minute. And on your later turns, you can teleport it as an action 30 feet. Not move it. It's not like a whirlwind moving around the field hitting multiple creatures like 5 in a row. No, it just teleports to the next wherever you point. It's not a wrecking ball. And also, when enemies start their turn in the daggers, they don't take damage. They only take damage when they end their turn or enter it. But keep in mind the average damage is pretty decent. 10. You're doing 10 every round when you move it, basically. And teleporting the daggers onto an enemy counts as entering. To really optimize this spell, I recommend putting it in like a 5-foot doorway. That will force enemies to have to run into the daggers. If there's 5 enemies in the other room, that will easily rack up 50 average damage. That's obviously incredible. And 5-foot doorways is super common in any dungeon really, besides like caves. How many times have you guys opened the door and there's enemies there? It happens like almost every session. That's it for the spell really. There's nothing too flashy about it besides the common team pushing the enemy into AoE kind of stuff, which can double trigger the spell for the round, but normally we use bigger AoEs for that. I should mention though that warlocks with repelling blast can double trigger Cloud of Daggers if they're pushing enemies into it. But keep in mind, if you Eldritch Blast, then you can't move the Cloud of Daggers. Moving the Cloud of Daggers is an action. Anyways, I absolutely recommend picking this up for warlocks specifically. Not so much for the other classes, but it's absolutely a good consideration. You can easily combine this with other spells, like if your party casts web. The daggers won't ruin the webs at all. If the DM rules that the webs are getting ripped to shreds, then they're going against the spell's description of what it does. For both spells, by the way, they're just making stuff up. The only real negative about this spell is the small size, and you can also argue that 30-foot movement isn't enough speed in some cases. But it's still a good spell. Anyways, end the video. Remember, there's only 1 seat left for the Peru trip. Anyways, thank you for watching. Bye-bye!